From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 7, streaming now.
We are now at the start of a new American administration. Joe Biden has been sworn in as the 46th president of the United States. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. After nearly 50 years of service in Washington and 3 bids for the presidency, Joe Biden was finally being sworn into the highest office in the land. His Vice President Kamala Harris, who is making history as the first female, first black, and first South Asian to hold that position. 3 former presidents and 2 former vice presidents were among the extremely limited socially distanced audience. Biden quickly set the tone for his new administration.
My first act as president, I'd like to ask you to join me in a moment of silent prayer. Remember all those who we lost in this past year to the pandemic.
After the pomp and pageantry, the Biden administration got straight to work. The president signed his first executive orders targeting Trump policies on immigration, climate change, racial equity, and the virus.
Former President Trump has been back in Florida for several hours since leaving the White House. He was greeted by a crowd of supporters as his motorcade drove towards Mar-a-Lago near Palm Beach. The president made it clear that the people would hear from him soon. Rafael Sanchez talked to the Indiana spokesperson for the 2020 Trump campaign about Mr. Trump's future.
What are your observations on this inauguration day?
Hope for the best for the Biden administration and the nation as a whole.
What will be next for Donald Trump?
I think he'll be a leading force for the Republican Party or, whatever he decides to do, but he will continue to shape policy for this country. He loves this country and has proven it over the last 4 years, and I think he'll continue to do so in the future.
There's some talk that he may splinter the Republican Party and start his own party, something called the Patriot Party. Is that a good idea, and is that a possibility?
I think anything's a possibility, and I think it might be a good idea. I would need to think on it some more. I think also the actions of Republicans now that the impeachment has happened in the House, the actions of Republicans in the Senate could play a role in that type of decision. As you know, there have been Republicans that have battled this president from the start, even from the 2016 campaign on, but most of the harassment has come from the left.
He's being blamed for the insurrection which occurred on January the 6th. Do you think the president will be convicted in the Senate? And what do you think will be the outcome of this sort of impeachment process?
I don't think he'll be convicted. I don't think Republicans will be that foolish, but some are, as we've seen with a few members in the House and some in the Senate, going along or at least testing the waters for the impeachment. I don't think they'll go through with it. He doesn't deserve it. It's unconstitutional.
Tony Samuel, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Best of luck to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Tonight there will be a live inaugural special called Celebrating America. Tom Hanks will host the event. It will feature artists like Justin Timberlake, Bruce Springsteen, John Legend, Tim McGraw, and Katy Perry. You can watch that tonight at 8:30 on WRTV.
Indiana veterans are upset about a state proposal that they say would take away money from veterans in need. Hoosier veterans in need of food, housing, utilities, medical service, and transportation can turn to the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs and its Military Family Relief Fund. Money generated from veteran license plate revenue like Army, Navy, Marines, and Support Our Troops. House Bill 1264 would allow the department to use up to 15% of the Military Family Relief Fund for paying administrative costs associated with the operation of the fund.
We see those as donations because Hoosiers pay a higher cost for those specialty license plates to support our troops, to show pride in their service, all knowing that that extra money goes into our Military Family Relief Fund to help veterans in need.
It was never meant to be like a slush fund for the state of Indiana or for the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs to use money from it for anything other than grants to veterans and their families.
The Military Veterans Coalition of Indiana wrote a letter to the governor saying taking 15% away equates to over $270,000 that would not be available to assist over 110 Hoosier veterans. We have not yet received a response from the Veteran Affairs Department Director Dennis Weimer, but we know many state agencies are being asked to cut their budgets due to the financial impact of COVID-19. Now to our continuing coverage of the pandemic and its impact on Indiana. The State Department of Health says another 2,942 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with COVID-19. 62 more Hoosiers have died. The total number of deaths is now 9,154. Since March, more than 598,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19, and more than 6.5 million tests have been administered in Indiana.
We know that these people who have died are more than just numbers. We want to make sure they are remembered. Betty Oliver of Connorsville was a mother and grandmother. She overcame a battle with leukemia and was recovering from a bone marrow transplant when she caught COVID-19. The 71-year-old passed away in a nursing home. Her family were shocked when they were told what happened, as they thought she was improving right before she passed.
A lot of anger, a lot of hurt, confusion, just trying to figure out what happened.
Dill says it's difficult to know her mom passed away without family around her, and she hopes her mother knows how much she was loved.
Let's get your WRTV Storm Team forecast here during the 7 o'clock hour. And meteorologist Kevin Gregory says some of the coldest days of the week are still ahead of us. Kevin.
But we also have our brief warm-up to look forward to. All right, temperature's 29 right now in Indy, 28 in Kokomo. The sky is clear. That temperature will fall off despite the fact that we've got the wind that will be out of the southwest. We had a 44-mile-per-hour gust today, and the wind tonight will stay about 20 miles per hour to 25. And our temperatures tomorrow spike to 44. Then we get to some of the coldest temperatures in the 7-day forecast. That's coming up. Amanda?
It's an effort to help hometown heroes. WRTV's Troy Washington is in Westfield with the inspiration to support the families of the men and women deployed to military service.
Heroes will now get the help they need in Westfield if they are called away.
Westfield sells itself as a real community. And I think people are attracted to Westfield because of that.
Scott Willis is the city councilman who proposed the hometown hero idea. It hinges on his own personal experience as a veteran.
I moved to Westfield in 2005, and literally as I was walking through our house to do a final walkthrough, I got a call from my commanding officer and I was being mobilized to go to Iraq. So we were in Westfield for literally just a few months before I deployed. And when I deployed, my wife was a stay-at-home mom, and we had a 14-month and a 3-month-old at home. It was a huge burden on her. We didn't have a network of friends.
And a vow he made to make sure the next person standing in his shoes would have the full support and help of the community.
When I came back, I swore if I ever had a chance, I would try to put something in place to relieve that burden down the road. And we just took a little step further to support our public safety officials as well.
Here's how the program works. The family members of hometown heroes will go to the City of Westfield's website. From there, they'll be connected with snow removal and lawn service vendors, all free of charge.
I got an email a few weeks before we voted on this from a firefighter that's in the Air Force Reserve, and he's being mobilized. And he reached out and said, this would be a huge relief for me if we could get something like this passed. You know, initially it's not going to have a huge impact on our community. There's not a lot of mobilizations happening in the armed forces, but I think it's an ideal time to kind of cut our teeth, get this program in place, work through the kinks, and then, God forbid, that day comes where we go back to war, we'll have a program that can bring real relief to our armed forces.
Working for you in Westfield, Troy Washington, WRTV.
It was such a close deciding vote that for the first time in Westfield history, the mayor had to break the tie in order for the proposal to pass.
Their public stories are fascinating, but their private lives have certainly had some dramatic moments too. Up next, a closer look at the first and second families as a new administration takes power.
People just need help.
The WhiteHouse.gov website has been updated to reflect the new president of the United States, and it now includes Spanish translations of the White House's communications. La Casa Blanca's Spanish language communications went dark in 2017 when Donald Trump took office. Presidents Barack Obama and George W. Bush both maintained a Spanish version of the White House website, and now President Biden has reinstated it. As America enters its next chapter of history, we take a closer look at the families who will be at the center of it all. ABC's Rena Roy has more tonight.
As they walked into the U.S. Capitol to make history, they did so with purpose and style. The first female, Black, and Indian vice president wearing pieces by Black designers. President Joe Biden in a timeless American classic, Ralph Lauren. And of course, their families by their side.
And I would not be here without their love and tireless support of Jill.
Dr. Jill Biden has been Biden's rock on his journey to presidency. The two met on a blind date in 1975, 3 years after Biden's first wife and infant daughter were killed in a car crash. Jill raising his two sons, Hunter and Beau, as her own.
How do you make a broken family whole? The same way you make a nation whole. With love and understanding.
And on Biden's mind as he took the oath of office, his son Beau, who died of brain cancer in 2015 at just 46 years old. The other family at the center of it all, bringing with them many firsts. Douglas Craig Emhoff is the country's very first second gentleman and the first Jewish spouse in any administration.
And he is very excited about it.
The couple also met on a blind date, marrying in 2014. Their fusion wedding honoring their roots.
Kamala Harris that I know, she wears Chucks and jeans. In fact, that's what she was wearing when I got down on my knees and asked her to marry me.
And on this big day, Harris's ancestral village, all the way in a remote southern Indian village, celebrating. And as she takes on her new role, family still comes first. To Emhoff's two kids, Cole and Ella, Harris is known as Mamala.
Vice President will be great, but Mamala will always be the one that means the most.
Also making history, the first dogs, Champ and Major. 2-year-old pup Major will be the first shelter dog to live in the White House. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
And just like in Indy, it was sunny in Washington, D.C. today and very windy. As we look to the weekend, rain and snow potential late in the weekend. More on that coming up.
The elders of an Indianapolis church say they have been called to send a message condemning the domestic terror attack 2 weeks ago on the U.S. Capitol building after seeing some of the rioters invoking symbols of Christianity during their siege. Tonight, WRTV's Cornelia Socker shows you why a leader at Common Ground Christian Church Midtown was moved to speak out.
Jesus didn't turn a blind eye to injustice. We just feel called to do the same.
That's one of the major reasons why Common Ground Church Midtown put out this statement in the wake of the domestic terror attack on the U.S. Capitol building. This moment right here, widely seen by millions of people. Rioters, after ransacking the Senate chambers, coming together to pray. And in other videos from that day, Christian symbols being worn or carried. Elder Claire White had something to say about all of it.
When we heard and saw people using symbols that were consistent with Christianity, it stirred in us something that felt not Jesus-like.
The church's statement read in part, "We lament that men and women portrayed a violent version of Christianity that is not congruent with the teachings of Jesus." Going on to say they lament that so many people who claim to follow Christ have instead put their trust in human leaders for their salvation. Claire tells me the church held a prayer service over the attack on the Capitol.
Rather than prayer being the end of what we do, it's almost like it's the beginning. It's our way of trying to discern best what it is that God's calling us to do so that we can then act out in whatever ways seem most appropriate and honoring to Him.
And for this moment, that means proclaiming the Christianity they know by doing good in our community.
Sharing resources and developing relationships with the neighborhood, community center, and public school, and just getting to know some of the folks in that space. Just because we take very seriously that call to be the hands and feet of Jesus.
Are you guys hoping to set an example for other churches, for other people in the Christian faith, or are you just leading by example, hoping other people, follow you?
Yeah, It would be great if we all did this together. I don't know that our intention is to lead the way. It's more just a response to what we really believe God is calling us to do.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
Thank you, Cornelius. The key to our next 24 hours is this. See the south wind? That will kick up and stay strong tonight, then more out of the west tomorrow, but it will take our temperatures and push those into the 40s. We're in the upper 20s now. They won't drop much from where they're at now. As we peak tomorrow afternoon, the milder it feels tomorrow, the colder it will feel on Friday. We'll be lucky Friday and Saturday just to get back to the freezing mark. There's the magic number tomorrow with sunshine, and at least when we get colder again Friday and Saturday, that includes sunshine as well. That always helps. As far as low temperatures, we'll hit rock bottom on Saturday morning, down to 15 degrees. That's the coldest in the 7-day forecast Saturday morning. Temperatures around the region this evening and tonight as we sit between weather systems, about average for this time of the year. I just want to let this play out from tonight through tomorrow, through Friday and into Saturday. And you'll notice we're between weather systems. One moves through the Great Lakes, another well to the south. Our weather system that will have an impact comes probably Sunday night into Monday. During the day tomorrow, temperatures move from the lower 30s as you're up and at them at 7 a.m. to 40 at noon, 44 the afternoon high. We'll still see winds gust over 25 miles per hour. Temperatures around the region running almost 10 degrees above average in some spots. We'll end the work week much colder, still dry though, and still enjoy sunshine. Temperatures for the weekend warm to 38 as we get to Sunday. There's the system late Sunday into Monday. See it push into the Great Lakes and Indiana, bringing with it, I think, a wintry mix and some rain. The exact track of that will eventually determine the precipitation type and the predominant precipitation type that we'll see. Right now we're on cruise control the next several days. Then we watch that system Sunday. Has a bigger impact potentially Monday with a 38-degree high. Then you can see we're dry and in the mid-30s Tuesday and on Wednesday. Enjoy tomorrow's warmth because in a flash it's gone after that. We'll be back with more news right after this.
Ashley Home Store. This is home.
Kroger customers can soon skip the checkout lines after they're done with their grocery shopping. The grocery chain is testing a new smart cart the company calls Krogo. It allows customers to scan items as they put them in the cart and will even make recommendations based on items the customer selected. There's also a scale for produce and other items sold by weight. When the customer is done, a green light appears on their screen to indicate the transaction is complete.
Today is a day of first as a woman took the oath of office as vice president. The shattering of that glass ceiling comes as a Pike High School teacher hopes his new children's book titled Orange will help kids understand and appreciate diversity.
The book, talks about there's nothing that rhymes with orange, and the other colors tease and make fun of and leave orange out of the rainbow, which causes orange some trauma, some anxiety, and some low self-esteem. So much so that she decides not to be a part of the rainbow anymore.
What do you hope people get out of this book?
A sense of purpose, that everyone should be included, and that the world is a better place when everyone is involved.
How should I take what's going to happen on January the 20th in the nation's capital? How does that connect to this book, which you've written?
But we have a long history of otherness, and I think my book is about otherness. Orange is different, and she is sad for that. And no one is celebrating the beauty that she brings to the world. So I think it connects with, we just haven't really realized the beautiful things that women can offer our political scene. Having a woman vice president is special.
Mr. Slack teaches social studies at Pike High School in Indianapolis. You can get his book at his website, dslack.com. Kevin.
Pacers home tonight at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, and our headlines: dry tonight and over the next few days. Probably not until Sunday night do we see any moisture. There's plenty of sunshine in the forecast. That's the good news too. Plan on 44 tomorrow. Enjoy it. It'll be windy but sunny. Amanda, Mark?
We definitely will. Thanks for making WRTV your choice for news.
We're back with you tonight at 11. Until then, have a great evening, everyone.